What's good, my fellow GeoGeeks and MetaMappers? Spatial Ninja here, bringing you another episode of This Week in MetaMapping, where we cover the latest in GIS and geospatial news. Now this week, we've got a variety of different articles to go through, including another article about reality capture being used to help preserve a historic site. If you watched our previous This Week in MetaMapping, we covered another article where reality capture was used to preserve some historic site. We've also got an article about location data and its value in autonomous and connected cars. We've got an article from GeoAwesome about disaster response and how we can improve disaster response with the use of satellite imagery. And from Esri and Where Next, we have an article that is more of a thought leadership piece around spatial thinking and how spatial thinking can help businesses. And then finally, from the ArcGIS blog, we've got an article about enriching the Overture data. So if you've been following the MetaMapping channel, you know that we've covered the Overture Maps Foundation and what they're doing. And so this article will talk about how you can enrich that data set using ArcGIS. But before we jump into our articles for this week, be sure to first off like this video, share it on social media, as well as subscribe to the MetaWorld Maps MetaMapping YouTube channel. We've got all of our previous videos and shorts and MappyMemes of the week posted here. We also released a video that goes through the 30-day map challenge categories for November. So if you are interested in that, be sure to check that video out. I know I will be putting together some maps for that 30-day map challenge. So let's jump into our first article here. Reality capture technology helps preserve French Citadel. Cutting-edge reality capture technology from Leica Geosystems, part of Hexagon, is digitally preserving the 17th century Citadel de Besançon. I'm probably butchering that name, but it's located in France, and it is a World Heritage Site. So while allowing visitors to immerse themselves in the area's rich history. So this was a joint project by the French government and Capture for CAD using laser scanners from Leica Geosystems' autonomous reality capture portfolio to create a comprehensive 3D model of the massive structure. So in either last week or the week before, we covered a similar article where they were capturing a point cloud or reality capture of some dinosaur sculptures. So in a similar fashion here, this organization is digitizing the Citadel. Will help. They're doing this in order to preserve it and enable more visitors to experience it through augmented reality. So those that can't go to the site can still kind of visit it in a augmented fashion, as well as capturing this data can help with preservation efforts over the years. So the range of Leica autonomous scanners was essential to create the reality capture model of this expansive and intricate site, said Hugo Parent, head of the Heritage Department at Capture for CAD. From capturing the point clouds to generating the 3D model, we've used the Leica Geosystems solutions throughout this project to bring all of the elements together. So again, using LiDAR scanners, they went out and captured imagery as well as point clouds to create these 3D models of this historic site. So the second kind of use case for reality capture around preserving historic sites in a matter of weeks here. Next article here, also from Geospatial World, location data can help deliver safe rollout of autonomous vehicles. So the Geospatial Commission has published a report that highlights the important role of location data and technologies will play in enabling the safe deployment of connected and self-driving vehicles on the UK's roads. It says here by 2035, 40% of cars in the UK could have self-driving capabilities. The self-driving market in the UK could be worth as much as $42 billion by 2035, creating up to 38,000 new jobs. Vehicles will rely on location data to know where they are in relation to their surroundings, including the curbside, spelt with a K, other vehicles, and pedestrians. So what they're saying here is location data is becoming more and more important in the autonomous and connected car world. So not only relying on sensors around the vehicle to detect other vehicles, but also things like high quality street data to understand where road lanes are and where curbsides are, etc. It says location data and technology will have a key role in this sector, but there are some challenges around data discoverability, accessibility, and quality. And it goes on to say that in order for this location data to be valuable and improved upon, it identifies that the sector should improve the understanding of the road environment by addressing key location data gaps. So where is that data poor? Where is that data missing? As well as improve how location data and location technologies can work together by defining accuracy standards, and improve data sharing practices to make connected vehicles data more accessible and reusable. So not only kind of third parties going out and capturing this location data, but the vehicles themselves capturing all this location data and making it easier for a Ford vehicle to share with a Tesla vehicle all of that location data. So this will be interesting to see how this evolves over the coming years with more and more connected and autonomous driving vehicles hitting the streets, how they may share some of this location data between vehicles. Moving on to our next article from GeoAwesome, Revolutionizing Disaster Response with Very High Resolution Satellite Data Tasking. So natural and man-made disasters present a significant challenge to societies globally, necessitating swift and effective response to minimize losses and facilitate rapid recovery. So amid these crises, however, satellite data is emerging as a game changer, offering near real-time observations and insights that have potential to revolutionize disaster response operations. It goes on to say that they can now provide very high resolution imagery of a target area within hours of a disaster striking. So these satellites and aerial planes that are capturing this imagery can be moved around the globe, can be provisioned up in the air and start capturing this data, whether it's aerial imagery or satellite captured imagery, very quickly now, just in a matter of hours after a disaster strikes. So it goes on to talk specifically about satellite imagery, which represents part of a wider integration of geospatial data into disaster response in the recent years, but is often best, and in some use cases, the only source of data in the immediate aftermath after a disaster. So it talks then about kind of three phases of disaster management. The pre-disaster phase, where satellite imagery is an invaluable tool for risk assessment and preparedness before disaster strikes. So things like understanding potential landslide suitability, things like that. Detailed spatial information also empowers authorities to develop appropriate disaster response strategies, which might include designing evacuation routes, ensuring emergency access, and designing public awareness campaigns tailored to the local context. Then the second phase, which is during the actual disaster event. So during the disaster itself, satellite data enables real-time monitoring and assessment of dangers and damage. So right when the disaster hits, or in this case, they mention a couple of hurricanes, tracking that hurricane, and as that hurricane rolls over an area, understanding in near real time what the potential damage is. And then doing things like running machine learning against that imagery to look at damaged homes. When you do have to send crews out to do a damage assessment, ensuring that you're sending them to the correct locations. Also says that satellites are also important damage assessment efforts, both during and in the immediate aftermath of the disaster. They can assist in determining the location and scale of a damage. Like I said, you can visually look at the imagery, but you could also run a deep learning model to automatically detect damaged buildings and so on. And it's a vital tool for dispatching those emergency responses to where they're needed the most. And then finally, the third phase, which is post-disaster, satellite data can prove a vital tool in damage assessment, recovery, and reconstruction after the immediate event phase is over. High-resolution imagery provides a comprehensive overview of the full context and type of damage caused by the disaster, essential in facilitating efficient recovery efforts. So satellite imagery, as it becomes better quality and cheaper to get a hold of, and the timeliness of it, it becomes quicker to get that data during and after a disaster response. I think you're just going to see more and more imagery being used to help assist with immediate disaster response. Okay, so our next article from Esri's Where Next? Spatial Thinking Invades Computing and Business. So over the past few weeks, we've talked quite a bit about spatial computing following Apple's announcement of their augmented reality headset and what that means to us as the GIS professionals. So this article goes on to talk a little bit about spatial computing and the role in the business world. So beneath the din surrounding of Apple's recent iPhone update was a comparatively quiet piece of news. Later this year, the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max will be able to record video in 3 dimensions. Apple describes this as spatial video, a more dynamic version of 2D moving images we've known since the silent movie era. So Apple, it goes on to say that this is part of a larger movement at Apple toward spatial computing, which includes earbuds that deliver immersive audio, mixed reality headsets that situate users in virtual scenes, right? So that's the new Apple augmented reality headset. And it says that in each instance, there's kind of these key ingredients using inputs from the world around us, the physical or virtual, to make sense of our place in a scene. Again, I think virtual reality is still some years off, but augmented reality is right around the corner. Understanding where you physically are and being able to tie virtual information into an augmented setting so that you can visualize that virtual data on top of the real world. So it goes on to say that business leaders are searching for their own form of spatial context. They want to understand the locations where they operate, the risks they face today and down the road, and how they can become more efficient and grow responsibly. So the rise of spatial thinking, a report by Deloitte notes that more than ever, location is an important element in today's business decisions. Simple spatial awareness might mean knowing the location of technicians working on a cell tower as a storm is approaching, or studying a dashboard of top-performing stores in the southeastern U.S. So more and more businesses are trying to think spatially, right? Have a geographic approach to their business. Spatial analysis is the turbine that drives these insights, and a GIS is the geospatial engine behind it. I think all of us in the GIS world would completely agree with that statement. So finally, it goes on to mention a upcoming webcast here with Amazon, FedEx, and Marriott. So at Amazon, FedEx, and Marriott, GIS helps decision makers choose where to grow the business, how to increase efficiency and accuracy in daily operations, and where to show up assets against climate risk. These brands and others are using spatial thinking as a key component to growth, efficiency, and risk management. So if you're interested in learning more about how Amazon, FedEx, and Marriott think about spatial thinking, be sure to tune in to this webcast. Or if you think others in your organization would get value from hearing from these large organizations, be sure to share a link to this webcast with them. And we'll make sure to share this link on x.com as well as in the link for in the bio for this video. All right, so our last article this week from ArcGIS blog, Enriching Overture Data with GERS. So this week, Overture Maps released its second version of their open map data. One of the important new features in this release is the introduction of the Global Entity Reference System, GERS or GERS or GERS. Not sure how they want you to pronounce that, but an ID system. And these GERS IDs have been assigned to over 1.6 million building footprints across different cities in North America, South America, and Europe. So it says that this is a system for encoding map data that is shared a universal reference, which provides an easy mechanism to conflate data from different data providers based on a specific GERS ID. So then it goes on to mention some different use cases for leveraging this new Overture data as well as this new GERS ID. Building enrichment. So the Overture buildings released a data set that includes 1.3 billion features that is comprised of multiple providers, including OpenStreetMap, Microsoft, and Esri's Community Maps. And they've kind of brought and transformed that data together into a common data schema. And that schema includes things like building footprint geometry and a small set of properties, class, height, names. So not that many attributes associated with this data, but it goes on to say that you can enrich that data set with other GIS data sets, including the USA structures, which is provided by FEMA in collaboration with other US agencies, and it's available in Esri's Living Atlas of the World. And it does have a whole variety of additional attributes associated with that. So it talks about being able to enrich that Overture Maps data set with this other building data set here, how you could perform data conflation. So again, being able to look at these two data sets and compare them. So, not all buildings kind of line up or match up. So being able to, again, perform this data conflation, merge this data set with other data sets, create feature layers with enhanced pop-ups. Again, so using things like Arcade, where you can bring in the attributes from the Overture Maps data set, but also leverage data from the USA structures layer. Create feature layer views. So being able to create a view of that data set. So if you just want to look at residential classification, commercial, industrial, again, creating a specific view layer of that. So you can join two data sets together in ArcGIS Online, creating a layer view, as well as create 3D buildings out of those building footprints. So This article just provides a variety of ideas where you can leverage some of the data in ArcGIS and the ArcGIS tools or ArcGIS Online to enrich that Overture Maps data set or combine that data set again with some of the other ArcGIS data sets. So those were our articles for this week. If you are not aware, ArcGIS Online is having a big update in the month of October. So for our next week's This Week in MetaMapping episode, I'm sure we're going to be covering a lot on what is new in ArcGIS Online. So be sure to take a look at that video once we release it. We are looking to try and make these a regular release on Mondays. It's not always the easiest to release these on Mondays, but we do want to try and push these videos out on Monday, and that will be the This Week in MetaMapping episodes. So with that, let's jump into our MappyMeme of the week. And speaking of the ArcGIS Online update, it was rumored that ArcGIS Online was going to get a recycle bin option. So, once you do delete something, if you delete something by accident, don't worry, it goes into a recycling bin and you can restore that item, which I think is a great feature. But there was an announcement that the recycle bin capability isn't coming until the next release in February or March of next year. So from Potato Maps here, Esri providing the recycle bin feature, also Esri throwing the recycle bin feature away. I thought this was a very funny and timely MappyMeme, so we'll like it and repost it. So with that, this has been This Week in MetaMapping. Hope you all enjoyed this content. Again, please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all the different social outlets here, and as always, stay mappy, my friends.